Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jesse Waterhouse from No Room for Comfort, and I'm glad everyone could join me here today. Let's say if you are listening here, I am live on YouTube and Twitch. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If you have any questions about today's episode, the topic for today, or if you have any questions about topics in the past, or if you're interested in being a live guest on this episode, a calling guest on this episode, you can email me at no room for comfort podcast at gmail.com. And I'd love to have that discussion with you. Also, if you look for No Room for Comfort podcast on Discord, I do have a live Discord server up and running. And I do have chats open for my other social media running here as well. If you'd like to jump in and mention something about what we're talking about or bring something up, I would love to hear from you. So yeah, awesome. So today's episode is going to be a little different from the episodes that I had in the past. So episodes I had in the past were kind of, for the most part, they were researched topics that were specific based on what I wanted to talk about that day. And for today's episode, and I'll do this on occasion, I decided I wanted to do this on occasion where I'm calling it a putting it out there session. And I'll do this every once in a while where, things are happening in the world, things are happening for everybody, where everyone's kind of, paying attention to what's happening. There's a bundled up portion of chaos that has happened over a string of time, and where I'll get on. And I really haven't rehearsed or really haven't researched or really practiced any type of thing about what I'm going to talk about today. Is going to kind of be impromptu, off the top of, off the cuff, off the top of my head type of discussion about, not necessarily beating a dead horse, where I'm going to talk about a topic that's happening in the world or a current event that's happening in the world, because I realize that there's probably 1,000 podcasts out there, right, that are going to be talking about certain specific things that they're going to get to, that people are going to be listening to. And if I talk about those exact same things, they're going to be hearing in repeat over and over, sort of, a spectrum of thoughts that I would have that would be similar to what other people have over the course of their podcast. And so it's not going to touch specifically on current events that are happening around the world here, but I'm going to talk about like the aura of what could be or what should be about things that are happening, kind of based on the weight of the world or the weight of yourself or what you may be feeling, things like that. So, I think it's really good to dive into every once in a while, because I kind of feel like if you were influenced by a certain amount of media throughout the day, it could have an impact on you, in your mental state. There's certain aspects of that. So you've got short-term media that will hand you reels and they're 30-second clips, 20-second clips, whatever they are, that are going to be funneling through your feed, boom, 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 boom. And you're getting this snap mentality of like instant gratification of information flowing into you. And the thing about what's happening with people today, especially with technology and with information gathering, with information transferring, people are seeing so much more information transferred into their minds at an unbelievable rate compared to what has ever been before. So I'm at the age to where when I was growing up, I had a cell phone in my hands when I was so I worked a pretty good job when I was 16 years old, right? I worked a decent job where I was making pretty good money for the time. I was very fortunate, very blessed to have the job that I had. And, my parents were never upper middle class. My parents were always kind of on the line. My parents were in a place in their life where they couldn't afford to give me car insurance. I know they wish they could have, but they couldn't afford to give me car insurance. They couldn't afford to buy me my first car. I had to work and save up for my first car. They couldn't afford to get me a cell phone and pay for a cell phone plan. I had to do that on my own, and I'm very grateful that I had to do that on my own. They don't have to feel any guilt whatsoever. Now, granted, my mom passed away, and granted, when I was going through that time, my mom wasn't present. That's a story for another time. But my dad, he always did the best he could. He always did the best he could for me, but I was able to get my own cell phone. Now, when I got my own cell phone, it wasn't a smartphone. Um, Back when I was 16 years old, it was right at the cusp of when they started introducing smartphones, but they really didn't have them yet. So my first phone was like this Nokia block phone. It's kind of an amazing phone. It's the kind of phone that, like, if you got a text when you're a teenager and it upset you, like your buddy pissed you off or whatever, it's like you could fucking toss that thing down the stairs and it wouldn't even come apart. It would just clunk down to the bottom of the stairs and you could pick it up. It's not like today where you have a cell phone that has this touch screen on it and you drop it face down and it shatters the screen. That wasn't that wasn't a thing. It's like you had text messages where you had to hit 4 times on one number to get an S. Just to it like took forever to text. And it's not like I was on a plan like a Verizon plan where I was paying monthly and I had unlimited text. It's like, no, you paid for minutes or you paid per text, and once you ran getting close to running out, you had to go load a card up, get it on your phone, get your stuff back. So that's the way it was. So with that being said, I wasn't sitting in front of a screen where I have reels that I'm just flipping through, hearing about all the crazy stuff that is going on minute by minute by minute by minute by minute by minute. And that's something that we're facing today. And I believe that that has had a drastic effect on the psychology of human beings in just about every culture to actually be able to try and process all of that. It's gotten us into a state where I believe that many human beings are stuck in a fight or flight response or an adrenal response to everything because they're always seeing high resolution videos of all this violence taking place and all of these things taking place and of sexuality and many different things that people probably should stray away from. So, it's something that has been encompassed in our society now, and it's just a part of our society now. There are very positive aspects to how social media is. I run this platform on social media so that I can try and help people who are their heads are hung low and they have a hard time lifting themselves up. That's my main purpose, my main goal, the reason why I'm doing this. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I can relate. I can relate because I've been stuck in places in my own head where I have had trouble digging myself out of that. I've been in these types of slumps where things have hurt, things have been dull, things have been numb, and I know there's other people that are feeling this exact same thing, there's people out there that are feeling the exact same thing. And a very healthy way to channel that, is to get out there and have conversation. Even though I'm sitting here by myself, talking into a camera, talking into a microphone, it really does help me to come on here and to express things that might help other people out. So if you're out there listening and you're like, oh, damn, what you're saying to me, it really makes sense. What you're saying to me, it's getting through to me and it's helping me through something or helps me find a path out of this slump. I'm doing my job and it makes me feel good to do it because it's the only reason I'm doing it. So with that being said, everyone that is sitting here listening today, I really, really appreciate you being here with me today. I want to thank you so much. Because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Because it is for you. I am grateful that I can have an audience sitting here to evaluate, to listen, to give feedback, to do all of these things that I strive to do because of what I'm doing. So thank you very much. Now, there is so much happening right now. And for everything that is happening, there are a lot of people that are segregating themselves, not only in America, but there are other places that are having their issues too. But there are a lot of people that are segregating themselves from what they view as the opposite side or what they want to say as the enemy. I'm from the United States. This is happening in my country right now. It's happening in a lot of countries. We influence a lot of countries. And we are also influenced by other countries. It doesn't take away the importance of sitting down with people with different perspectives and having conversation. I won't stress it enough that I feel that much of that has gone away. Like, there's so much of it that where people will adhere so much to a tribe or a tribal mentality or an ideology or their ethos that they will not step outside of their own mentality to actually try and feel what other people are feeling or going through or believing in. And this doesn't say that you have to believe in what they're believing. It's a good thing to stand up for what you believe in. But if there is a fundamental wrong to what you're believing in, that takes self-reflection and it takes emotional intelligence, which I've had an entire episode on, to actually ask yourself, okay, this action took place. I'm going to stand with it no matter what. Or I can take a look at this and say, was that really the right thing to do? Was that really the right thing for that group of people to do? And if it wasn't, believe that it wasn't, because if you're just going to stick with your tribe and you're just going to go along with it, like, oh, they did that, I'm right there with them. Well, there are a lot of people who will have this ideology around them where I need to be an individual. I need to be myself. I need to tell myself that I'm going to believe in my beliefs and not back down from them. But as soon as you have that afterthought of, in a humanitarian sense, that really wasn't the right thing of a group of people to do, yet I'm just going to stick with them on what they did because they are my side, well, then you contradict yourself and you are going against what you told yourself you would be as an individual. Does that make sense? Well, it does make sense to me, and I can get into specifics on examples or what things around the world that have taken place that are the reason why this happens with people, but you know, we don't really have to. Some of us kind of know what is going on, but I decided to stray myself away from too harsh of political spectrums in order to get into those type of things, but I'll kind of touch on some things. So what's happening, you know, like what recently happened was this whole situation with Venezuela. So I, especially in recent years, I haven't been the type of person that qualifies for an opinion. I'll honestly say that. I don't qualify for an opinion on a lot of these current events. And the reason why is because I don't sit there and read everything from every news outlet about what is happening there. So I can only speak on certain personal experiences and what I feel. So in the situation with Venezuela, I knew somebody personally that came here from Venezuela. That person came here from Venezuela, and when I got to know that person and I asked them about what really brought them there, thinking that, okay, you're here for an education. Obviously, this was back in my college years, and they were in college. And I asked them, I was like, okay, so you're coming here to get an education. Are you going to, kind of like, you going to jump in and be an American citizen? And this person ended up telling me, absolutely, I am here to get an education. I'm absolutely here to gain my citizenship. I am gaining my citizenship, and I am going to work here, live here, build a family here, be an American, all of that. But the real reason that I was brought here is because I was fortunate enough to have parents who were well off enough to send me here. And they sent me here to escape. And at that point in time, I had no idea about what Venezuela was all about. I just thought that they're this South American country that were doing okay, but in reality, it was a South American country that wasn't doing okay. So, from what I gathered from this person was in 1997 they started adopting socialism, and basically the freedoms the people started getting stripped, where the government was in control of so many things. And this person ended up telling me that things are so much better here in America. If Americans were to fight among themselves as petty compared to atrocities that were happening in Venezuela. So, with that firsthand account, it leads me to believe that what took place in Venezuela recently and what the United States did for the Venezuelan people was a good thing. Now, do I believe that the only reason we did that for Venezuela was for the Venezuelan people? I am not so sure about that. I believe that ultimately it was for the encompassing future of America, for the United States of America, because there are things circulating that our adversaries had interest in that region because of the absolute resources that came from there. So we have oil and we have gold deposits that are the largest in the world there in Venezuela. Beef, very large resource there in Venezuela. So they're a very valuable country. But they're in the position of power with only a 30-minute flight from the nearest flight from the United States. They're also on the cusp of being a nuclear state. But they had opposing ideology to the United States. They sided with adversaries of the United States and could ultimately become a close enemy of the United States, too close to our borders. Too close to the fact that our oceans wouldn't protect us like they do now. So there are several reasons why we would have interest in toppling that regime and doing what we need to do. There are a lot of people out there that think that that was wrong and that those were war crimes. But also, there is a possibility that Venezuela is responsible for bringing a lot of drug paraphernalia up into our country and into our borders and into our mainland. Now, if that is true, you could say to yourself, or was the collateral damage of what we had done to get that regime out of power a bad thing? Well, of course it was. We don't really want to see any innocent people suffer or die due to what has happened. And it is a tragedy. But so are the addictions and the families torn apart from drug use if drugs are in fact being brought up here from that location. So, with all of that bad, there is a possibility of a good that a lot of these drugs are not going to make it here anymore, and a lot of futures are going to be saved, and a lot of lives are going to be saved. There may be people out there that are very angry or upset that I would even consider that as a possibility, but I want to keep an open mind to it because here is an absolute fact. If we all sit in a room, no matter what ideology we have, and we take a look at this situation with the Venezuelan president being taken, how many of us would agree that what happened is out of our control? Well, if you say that you could have done something about it, how could you have done something about it? How could you have stopped tier one operators during a black op operation taking a regime out of power, a socialist regime out of power? How could you have stopped that? There isn't a way you could have possibly even predicted that. Nobody even saw it coming. It was so locked tight and key that nobody even saw it coming. No common American saw it coming. We knew we were bombing their boats and taking those boats out, but we didn't think that we would fly right over his house, over his compound, drop in, grab him, and go. We got a taste of what we were capable of. We got a taste of what we were capable of when we did what we did in Iran. So it could have crossed somebody's mind, but we knew we were trying to stop the drugs and the narco-terrorism. But we didn't think that it would be so swift and overnight a regime was toppled, right? We can all agree on that. So with that being said, how much of that is out of our control? Well, all of it. So what can we do from this point forward? Instead of arguing back and forth about what was right and wrong, we can sit down with each other and we can listen to each other about each other's perspective without getting violent. We should be able to do that. We used to be able to do that. What happened to being able to do that? That is the saddest thing. That's the saddest thing to me. I've had people who've had opposing opinions on certain things, and instead of getting flared up and getting angry and telling them they're wrong and you're a piece of shit and all this other stuff, it's a simple, well, what makes you feel that way? Why do you feel that way? You know, and in some people's perspective, they believe that all innocent people's lives are valuable. And now, if you look at that side of things, is that really wrong? There really isn't. You can't typically disagree with that, but you also can have a sense of realism, because wherever there is war, conflict, there is going to be collateral damage, and it's a terrible thing. But if we can sit down and we can have conversations about what's going on with each other, maybe we can meet in the middle. Maybe we can meet in the middle and we can all agree all innocent human beings deserve to have a prosperous life. because that's what I believe. And I think that any sensible human being believes that all innocent life deserves to prosper. It's not too hard. It's not too much to ask. It's not too much to agree on. So if we can come together with that, then we can realize that, and maybe we can start having conversations again. Because I believe that the biggest downfall of any society is going to be when people of opposite positions start to act violent against each other because of the way we think. We have to realize that we are designed in a reality where there are things that are in our control and there are things that are not in our control. But you have to lock in to the fact that you are in control of your serenity. You are in control of recognizing when something is in your control or when something isn't. Now, when something isn't in your control and you don't agree about it, there is an action within your control, which is in a political system. Yes, you can protest and you can be outspoken about it in this country because we have the First Amendment, and that's a beautiful thing. But that does not encompass going out, creating chaos, causing damage to people's property, and becoming violent. That is not, in my opinion, that is not the right way to handle things. If you come to the masses to get a decision changed or to get your opinion across, you can do that peacefully. You get the voice out there, and then you get your leaders to start talking about it. And then when our government process starts to take place, we can actually propose that because we've spoken up and we can vote on it. Those are the things that we can do to be in control of what is actually happening. It's not going to make anything better to gather in mobs and to hurt each other. We should not be doing that. We should be sitting down and creating peace and figuring out solutions. That's what will make a society and a nation absolutely great. Pinning things on each other and then hurting each other is not the way to go. Because you could have somebody of this view and somebody of this view, and if you take a look at their lives and they haven't done anything that was wrong, they haven't committed any crimes, they haven't gotten violent against anybody on the other side, they've just had opinions. Well, if they sit down with each other and they reason and they talk it out, which now in this day and age, sometimes it may feel like it's impossible to do, but if they actually sit down and they actually do it, well, then maybe one day, hopefully soon, hopefully before things spiral out of control, hopefully these two people or these two groups or these opposing sides can just sit down, have conversations, find a moderate solution, and roll forward with it. Because I feel like if we don't do that, we are in a state of where we are doomed. We will keep sliding down that hill. Nothing will ever get solved, and things will just progressively get worse. And I don't think that anyone, I shouldn't say that anyone wants that to happen. There are probably people out there, unfortunately, that are looking for that to happen. They're looking for that to happen because maybe they have this perspective that if something drastic as that and they're just, the other side is just wiped out, then it's going to solve their problem. Well, you know, we're in a state of civilization where we are the least violent that we have ever been in our entire history. So why would we take steps back and go back to where we were? It doesn't make sense to me. And that might upset quite a few people, like, oh, it needs to happen. But the thing is it's not too late to actually turn back. At least I don't believe it's too late to turn back, to actually have conversations with people and to feel each other out and to actually try and kind of see where people are coming from. And I don't feel like it's too hard to ask. So, with that being said, that's going to end this segment of this episode. I know it focused around that specific current event, but it led to things that had me talk about what I was feeling it to put it out there. So, the next thing is all of media tends to focus around the major things that are happening, including myself just now. And like I said earlier, beating that dead horse, there's monotony involved in it. And when you keep scrolling or you keep watching videos or you keep listening to podcasts or what have you, or you read the news or you watch the news on TV and it's all the same negativity just floating around, it tends to create weight. It tends to become very, very exhausting. And no matter what your opinion is on certain things, I believe that most everybody can get together and agree that it gets exhausting. So there are people especially out there that they're hanging their heads low. They are having a hard time picking themselves up. I've gone through cycles, and recently, over the past several months, I've kind of got myself in a state where that weight has kind of been hanging on me. And I believe there's probably other people out there that are feeling the same thing too. And with the weight of everything that's happening around them, it probably doesn't help. The economy, it doesn't help. Post-COVID, it doesn't help. So, I've taken steps. I've taken steps to counteract it within myself. The first thing that I started doing was I got myself a ledger and I got myself a pen. And at the top of it, I would write the day and the date. And then below that, I would write a line. What am I grateful for? 3 things that I'm grateful for today. And I would write 3 things that I'm grateful for, and I would reflect on them. Because this makes you actively think about the positive things that happened to you in that day or are happening to you in your life, despite no matter where you are. I've spent a lot of time in the Philippines, and these people are pretty carefree. A lot of these people don't come from wealthy backgrounds or comfortable backgrounds for that matter. But these people are absolutely humble. These people have a sense of community. These people don't dwell on hurtful things. They come together and they talk about the things that make them laugh, that make them happy. They keep humor in their society. Now, if you come from a harsh society and you introduce humor, I believe humor is the first step to a healing civilization, to a healing society. Laughter and smiling. People would talk to each other in public who are absolute strangers and treat each other like brother and sister. They would even call each other kuya nate, which means brother or sister, even though somebody may be a complete stranger. And they wouldn't take life too seriously. Life wouldn't be so fast-paced. They would slow things down. They would take their time with life in itself. Because life is a moment, and then it's another moment, and then it's another moment. And they would live all of them in segments. And it was beautiful to see. And I believe we can get each other to that place. We can still be the hardworking country here in the United States that we are and still get to that place without harming each other. So it was very beautiful to see. So I write what I'm grateful for because those people in the Philippines are very grateful for what they have, even if it's very little. Because they are blessed to have the life that they have, a life at all, family around them, warm weather, sunny weather, fresh water, amazing food, the ability to walk down a white sandy beach, the ability to go to a store and pick out their favorite drink, something that they wouldn't be able to make on their own, but somebody developed, and it was their favorite flavor. Simple things. Bring everything back to simplicity. Because if you're shoving all of this information in your head, a lot of these things that are coming across your feed could be very, very complicated, very complex. And now, if you focus on a complex issue or a complex thing over a long period of time, it could kind of trickle through you, and you can somewhat process it over a period of time. But the thing is, instant gratification has become such a moneymaker that you're watching everything through a 20-second reel, snap, 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 snap. And it is destroying our psyches. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't scroll on whatever. That'd be a contradiction to what I do because I put out short clips, right? But my suggestion, like I do for myself, is I would limit the amount of time that I'm spending doing that. So it's not too much of an overload. We have a lot of stuff going on at work. We have a lot of stuff in our relationships, our personal lives. We kind of need to spread it out a bit. So instead of like 2 hours of your day doing that, maybe you just like limit yourself to 15 minutes, 30 minutes a day. That's helped me out exponentially. I don't even care if you watch a short clip of mine. I put out the ones that send a strong message of positivity typically, so that if someone happens to be going through and they're feeling something and they come across it and it really helps them out, maybe it'll get them into a full-length episode and they can hear out what I'm saying. Hopefully it'll help them. So I don't want to be a contradiction to myself. I'm not saying to not do it at all. I'm just trying to say maybe it's okay for some of us who are feeling a lot of weight to maybe just limit the amount of content of that type that we are taking in. It isn't necessarily a bad thing. So after I write 3 things that I'm grateful for, I will write down, okay, these are my goals for tomorrow. So it's Wednesday night. I'm going to write tonight what are Thursday's goals. One of my goals for tonight that I wrote yesterday was to come on. It was a given. It was to come on and do a podcast because every other Wednesday I have been on key to doing a podcast episode. So I knew in my mind that that was going to get done. And it isn't about, I'm just going to play something obvious that I know I'm going to do. Well, no, it was about, okay, I'm going to actually physically write this out. I know I'm going to be taking action, and I'm going to be able to put a check mark next to the box that achieved that goal. There's something that happens with your brain, even if you have these simple routine things that you're doing in your life. If you were to check them off as a goal that you've done and give yourself and play towards that reward system in your brain, it's going to help you with something. It's going to help people that have depression. It's going to help someone who is feeling depression or anxiety because it's going to click your reward system and you're going to know subconsciously that you got that goal done because you wrote it down and you accomplished it. I'm the type of person that, especially lately, where my motivation would be dragging behind me on a low level. So I would have very little motivation to kind of get up and do even simple things. Like I didn't feel like I wanted to do them. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to write these things down and kind of make it a routine. I'll write these simple things down that I'm normally used to doing, and I'm going to affirmate my disciplines. So like tonight, not only this podcast, but I'm going to do a load of laundry. I'm going to dust the house. These few things that I'm just going to do. And the thing is, when it comes to feeling depression, feeling down, feeling low, it's very easy to sit and dwell, and then that's when you start to overthink, and that's when you start to dig yourself a bigger hole. So from my experience, the best thing you could do, even though you may not feel like doing it, is following something called a 10-minute rule. And what is the 10-minute rule? It's you take that task that you feel like you should be doing or something that you want to accomplish, but you don't feel like accomplishing because you're just that down and out. And you set a timer for 10 minutes once you decide you're going to start that task. And you spend 10 minutes of your time doing it. And most of the time, by the end of that 10 minutes, that action that you took will elevate your motivation. And when you elevate that motivation, you're not necessarily going to stop at that 10 minutes. You're going to continue. If it takes longer than 10 minutes to complete that task, you're going to continue until the task is done. And once that task is done, you're going to feel, oh yeah, okay, I got that done. That goal is out. I checked it off. What's the next thing on my list? If you wrote it down the night before, if you have 4 things and you did one of those in that 10 minutes because the hardest part is actually starting, you have that motivation now. You lifted yourself up onto the next thing. You bang that out. You bang the next thing out. You bang the next thing out. All 4 things are done off your list. Even if you don't get all 4 things done, if you get 3 of them done, you get to the end of your night and you're like, oh, I worked all day. Today was a long day. I'm very tired. I think I'm going to go to bed now. But I only got 3 things down off of my list. Should I feel bad about myself? Absolutely not. Carry that goal on to the next day. Praise yourself and feel rewarded for what you actually were able to do, because the old you, the you from earlier that day, wasn't planning on getting anything done at all. And maybe would have moped around, maybe would have sat around, and maybe would have thought about the things that you should have done and never accomplished them. But instead, you got started, you took action, and you gave it your all, and you took those things off your list. What's wrong with carrying one over? There is nothing wrong with carrying one over. Carrying one over can give you a sense of reflection to where you can think about what you have done and think of what you can be grateful for the next day, and to be able to get that done the next day. It even can give you a sense of something to look forward to, because you are so happy that you got motivated and you got off your butt and you were able to feel a sense of excitement of doing the things that you told yourself you were going to do and keeping promises to yourself, that it gives you something to look forward to the next day. And it gives you a little bit less effort of finding out what other goals you're going to do. And you can write those down after the fact, and you just take them off your list. It's an amazing thing. So I suggest you do that. It will help you sleep better at night. At least it does for me. So if you're feeling down and out, write these things out, because when you make it tangible, when your finger writes the words out and your mind processes and reads the words, then you read them out loud to yourself. You check things off of your list. You're going to feel so much better. And I really hope that there's somebody out there that's listening to this tonight that will adopt this, give it a try, and hopefully it really helps them. Looks like I got something in the chat here. I want to take a look at this because, okay. All right. I want to address something, because every single episode I have somebody that comes here on Twitch, and they don't ask questions. They don't mention anything about what the topic is or show any interest towards the topics that I write. They plug a link into the chat. They plug a link into the public chat. I'm not going to say this person's name. You can go on Twitch, probably look under the chat or the comments, whatever, the chat in there, and you can see this link that they post if you really wanted to. And sir, you know who you are. I would please ask you to stop plugging that link, because I don't know what it is. You have not emailed me or contacted me about what this is at all. There's random letters after the link. I'm not too crazy about that. Not exactly sure what this is. However, if you are to email me and say, hey, I have this, can you give me a way to look into it where I don't have to click on that link. Give me a way to look into what you are, send screenshots or whatever of, if you're an organization that's helping people out or charitable in some way or something like that, I would absolutely love to include you as basically an affiliate of what you're trying to do or what what your purpose is, if it's a positive, good thing. But if you're just plugging or doing something weird that you shouldn't be doing, please, I would please ask you to stop doing that because you have not contacted me about what this is. So I kind of really don't want anything to do with it. And I'm going to say that, in my next episode, if it happens again, I very strongly apologize for this, but if you continue to do this without giving me a sense of what it is or without consent, I will have no choice but to ban you from my Twitch stream. I'm sorry, but yeah, I don't want whatever that is unless it's something you can prove to me is a charitable. You know what I'm trying to say, because I'm not here plugging people's stuff. I'm not here being an affiliate of anything at this moment. And if I do know what it is, and it's something that I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, this is awesome, this is great, I love the purpose, I love the goal, I love the mission, I'm going to speak out to it. But if you're just random throwing this into my chat, and it's like, oh, people just click on this, whatever it is, and not saying anything to me, I'm sorry, but I can't include that in my stream or in my live or affiliate with it whatsoever. So please, please, please stop doing that, or contact me and we'll figure out what this is. You're putting on there Streamboo. I don't know what that is. I'm not sorry. So yeah. Okay, so we're at the 1 hour mark. So that means I've had a 45-minute podcast tonight. I appreciate everyone coming on here. Please look up No Room for Comfort podcast on Facebook, on TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch. I'm on all of those platforms. I appreciate everyone being here tonight. If you have any questions or comments about this episode, or if you'd like to be a calling guest of this podcast, email me at noroomforcomfortpodcast@gmail.com. And I would really love to have that discussion with you, or love to answer questions. If I do get questions or comments about episodes, I will address them on the following episode. I'm very thankful to be doing this. I'm very thankful for everyone out there that is watching or listening or coming across any of my short videos or anything of that sort. If you need somebody that you need to talk to, I am here. I'm here to help people out. I am truly loving what I'm doing here. It's something, a sort of passion for me. It's something that's helped me as well as helped me feel that I can help others. So thank you again. This has been No Room for Comfort, and I will see you guys next time. Yeah, thank you.